Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has expressed willingness to seek a compromise on the Ukraine issue, provided Russia's legitimate security interests and the rights of Russian-speaking people in Ukraine are protected. Lavrov emphasized that Russia is open to maintaining dialogue with the US, including high-level talks between the two countries' leaders and foreign ministers. The US State Department has approved $780 million sale of Javelin anti-tank missiles and launchers to key NATO ally Poland. The sale, which is pending congressional approval, aims to bolster Poland's defense and regional stability amid the war in Ukraine. Hamas's military wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, has pledged to fiercely resist Israel's advancing forces in Gaza City, warning that further military operations will jeopardize any potential release of Israeli hostages. According to the Al-Qassam Brigades, Gaza City will become a graveyard for Israeli soldiers if the Israeli defense continues their push into the city. The group claims to have dispersed Israeli captives across various neighborhoods in Gaza City, stating they won't ensure their safety as long as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's strategy aims to kill them. At least 4 explosions were seen over Gaza in the early hours on Friday, with fireballs visible over the Palestinian enclave, signaling continued escalation in the Israel-Hamas conflict. This development comes as Israeli tanks push forward into Gaza City's central areas on Thursday, cutting off internet and phone lines for several hours. The Israeli military's ground operation aims to target Hamas's strongholds, but the actions have sparked international concern and condemnation. The US vetoed a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as well as the release of hostages held by Hamas and other groups. Now, this marks the 6th time the US has vetoed a similar resolution since the Gaza war began nearly 2 years ago. Despite global pressure to end the conflict, the US maintained its stance of diplomatic protection for Israel, with 14 other council members voting in favor of the resolution. The veto drew sharp criticism, with many accusing the US of enabling the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where over 64,000 people have been killed, mostly civilians, and a famine has been confirmed. Mothers of Israeli soldiers and hostages chained themselves together outside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem to protest the ongoing military offensive in the Gaza Strip. This emotional appeal comes as Israel intensifies its ground operation in Gaza City, which has resulted in nearly 250,000 Palestinians fleeing their homes, according to the United Nations. Despite the displacement, hundreds of thousands remain in the city, where large areas have been devastated by previous Israeli raids. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has expressed support for the European Commission's proposal to freeze trade agreements with Israel due to its actions in Gaza, citing geopolitical and human rights concerns. Now, during a press conference with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Madrid, Sanchez emphasized that indiscriminate attacks on civilians, resulting in over 60,000 deaths, are not an effective way to combat threats. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has announced that a decision on whether to support sanctions against Israel will be made before an EU meeting in Copenhagen on October 1st. Merz has expressed concerns about Israel's actions in Gaza, stating they are not proportional to its goals, but emphasized that Germany does not view these actions as genocide. He also clarified that recognizing Palestinian statehood is not currently on the agenda. The United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, Geir Pedersen, announced that he would step down in the near future after more than 6 years in the role, citing personal reasons. Pedersen informed the UN Security Council that Secretary General Antonio Guterres has accepted his resignation, effective in the near future. In his farewell address, Pedersen praised the Syrian people's resilience and determination, noting that sometimes it's darkest before the dawn. He also condemned recent Israeli military actions in Syria, calling for respect for Syrian sovereignty and territorial integrity.
We welcome you, Ambassador Ibrahim Al-Ulabi.
US President Donald Trump has reportedly declined to approve over $400 million in military aid to Taiwan as he attempts to negotiate a trade deal and potential summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. This decision marks a significant shift in US policy, with the Trump administration instead pushing for future arms sales to the self-governing island that China claims as its own territory. The aid package, worth more than $400 million, included munitions and autonomous drones and was intended to support Taiwan's defense capabilities. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside Disney's headquarters in Burbank and ABC Studios in New York to demand the reinstatement of Jimmy Kimmel Live after its indefinite suspension. The protests, organized by the Writers Guild of America and other groups, condemned ABC's decision as censorship and an attack on free speech. Kimmel's suspension came after owners of local TV stations had said that they would stop broadcasting his celebrity-filled late-night show. And the nation's top communications regulator threatened to investigate Kimmel's commentary about Charlie Kirk.
That we will not accept. That we will not accept. Kimmel,
Trump must go.
Jimmy Kimmel stays. Trump must go. Jimmy Kimmel stays. Kimmel stays.
North Korean state media released images of leader Kim Jong-un recently inspecting a performance test of tactical attack drones, emphasizing the need to integrate artificial intelligence technology to enhance their operational capabilities. One image shows Kim standing in front of a large drone with a similar appearance to that of the US Reaper drone. Other images show the drone in the air as well as missiles hitting targets, as Kim observes. Thousands of Bolivian miners marched through La Paz demanding government action against illegal mining and occupation of legally established concessions. The protest, organized by the Federation of Mining Workers, set off dynamite explosions and carried banners reading "Respect for Work Areas" as they called for an end to mineral theft and illegal occupations. The FSTMB has declared a state of emergency last week, warning of further demonstrations if authorities fail to respond. The protesters follow violent incidents at mining sites where cooperatives and community members attempted to take over mining concessions. Bolivian authorities have launched an investigation into the presence of Sergio Luis de Freitas Filho, a leader of Brazil's first Capital Command drug trafficking gang, who allegedly lived in Santa Cruz for over a decade. According to the head of Bolivia's Special Forces Against Drug Trafficking, Freitas Filho was identified after a report by Rede Globo. Interestingly, Bolivian authorities received information about Freitas Filho's location from Brazilian Federal Police just 2 days before the media expose. This probe follows President Luiz Arce's orders to investigate Brazilian criminal organizations in the eastern region after Freitas Filho's luxurious lifestyle in Santa Cruz was exposed. The Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador, the largest indigenous organization of the country, has called for an immediate and indefinite national strike to protest the elimination of the diesel subsidy, which has led to a price hike from $1.80 to $2.80 per gallon. While the cuts, which were announced by President Daniel Noboa last week, aimed at saving $1.1 billion and has sparked widespread discontent among indigenous communities and transporters. Journalists and human rights activists held a protest march in Guatemala City to demand the release of Jose Ruben Zamora, a prominent investigative journalist who was imprisoned since 2022 on money laundering charges that many consider fabricated to silence him. Despite brief house arrest in 2024, Zamora was returned to prison, sparking criticism of Guatemala's judicial system. Well, his case has been marked by repeated legal irregularities, exclusion of defense evidence and concerns about press freedom, with international organizations denouncing his imprisonment as an attack on journalism.
Para expresar nuestra profunda preocupación.
In Germany, cyber attacks have cost the economy almost $355 billion over the past year. A survey by industry group Bitkom has found that foreign intelligence agencies, mostly in Russia and China, were behind many of these attacks. Some cyber attacks have also been found to be linked to the US and other EU countries. Ransomware, or malicious software that locks up data until the victim pays to have access restored, was the biggest threat. Hitting a third of German companies, 1 in 7 firms paid a ransom. The survey also found that while large companies were better prepared to handle such attacks, small and medium firms were affected more. Microsoft is pouring some cash into Wisconsin, taking its data center spending in the US state to over $7 billion. The tech giant plans to build its second massive AI data center in the state. The new project will join a $3.3 billion data center in Mount Pleasant in the southeastern corner of the state, which was announced last year. Well, the first site is due to open next year, with 500 staff expanding to about 800 once the second data center is complete. Microsoft has said that the site will eventually host the world's most powerful AI supercomputer, with cutting-edge cooling and energy systems to reduce costs and water usage. China's DeepSeek has claimed it spent only $294,000 to train its latest AI model, which is a figure far less than the hundreds of millions reported by its US rivals. Well, the information was revealed in a peer-reviewed article published in the academic journal Nature, which listed DeepSeek founder Liang Wenfeng as one of the co-authors. The article also mentioned that DeepSeek's reasoning-focused R1 AI model used 512 NVIDIA H800 chips. DeepSeek's low-cost approach first shook global markets in January, sparking fears that it could undercut AI leaders like NVIDIA. Wenfeng and his company have since kept a low profile, but this update is set to reignite debates over China's place in the global AI race. Xiaomi will issue a software update for over 115,000 of its popular SU7 electric sedans to fix potential safety issues when its assisted driving features are used. Well, it is the second software fix to fall under product recall rules since the model's launch last year. According to the China State Administration for Market Regulation, when the SU7's Level 2 highway pilot assisted driving feature is turned on, there may be insufficient early warnings or performance in extreme special scenarios. The problem affects 116,887 standard versions of the SU7 produced between February 2024 and August 2025. Lyft has paid $19.4 million to New Jersey after an audit found the company misclassified over 100,000 drivers as contractors between 2014 to 2017. State officials of New Jersey said that its audit found Lyft did not make contributions to state fund for those years on behalf of the drivers, depriving them of protections such as unemployment compensation, temporary disability benefits and family leave. Lyft was addressed more than $10.8 million in past due contributions, plus more than $8.5 million of penalties and interest. It paid the $10.8 million to stop interest from running and paid the remainder after ending its challenge. Gold fell for a third straight day as investor optimism over rapid Fed rate cuts faded. Despite the Fed's recent 25 basis point cut, Chair Jerome Powell signed a cautious, data-driven approach going forward. That pushed up the US dollar and bond yields, reducing gold's appeal. The market is now scaling back expectations for aggressive easing, with traders watching inflation and job data closely. After hitting record highs, gold is seeing some profit-taking amid renewed rate uncertainty. Oil prices held steady on Friday after a slight drop following the Federal Reserve's first rate cut of 2025. Despite rate cuts typically boosting demand, concerns grew over rising US fuel stockpiles and softer economic data. The stronger US dollar and higher bond yields also pressured prices. Meanwhile, Russia introduced measures to protect its budget from price swings and sanctions, easing some supply worries. Japan's core inflation eased to 2.7% in August, its lowest since November 2024, marking the third straight monthly decline. Rise inflation, though still high at nearly 70%, has cooled from July's 90%. The Bank of Japan is expected to hold rates at 0.5%, but analysts forecast a hike in October, citing stronger than expected GDP growth last quarter. Meanwhile, Japan's exporters are getting some relief after a US trade deal that lowered tariffs from 25% to 15%. Though global trade risks remain. SoftBank's Vision Fund will lay off about 20% of its global workforce, over 300 employees, as it shifts focus largely towards large-scale AI investments. Under founder Masayoshi Son, the cuts come despite the fund positioning its strongest quarterly performance since mid-2021. Led by gains in companies like Nvidia and Coupang, the pivot includes capital-intensive projects such as the proposed $500 billion Stargate data center project in the US in partnership with OpenAI. This is the third major round of layoffs since 2022. The move signals a departure from broad startup investment towards high-bet, high-conviction AI infrastructure and foundational model work.